So we have all of our tools, the rag that we've talked about earlier, the top bar, the bottom bar, and the two side bars ready to go. So first and foremost, grab the glue. Hope I'll get this okay, and you can see this fine. I cannot recommend this enough. It really does make a big difference when you just put not much glue, just a small bit like that, onto the joints, because that makes that connection, that bond, so much stronger. It really does make a difference. I've tried it without and it's just not the same. Sorry, I'm running out of glue clearly. So like that, and I would do all four ends like this. Oh, that's way too much. I don't know how the video camera's taking that. Then I would simply, excuse me, slide this with the outer side with those eyelets that needs to be on the outer side for the wire later on. You just feed that in nicely and turn that over, and again the same thing on the outside. Let me see if I can get you a better angle. So feed it in like this. It's not hard, but it is firm, it is tight. So sometimes I can't do that any further in my hand, so I do that on the ground like this. Then you come back up and you do the same thing with the top ones. Now if you have quality wood, as I do here, which is the New Zealand frames, which I have spoken of last time, it's very, very accurate and very, very good quality. So once that's in, you essentially have a nice frame with two eyelets on that, two eyelets on that side, two eyelets on this side, and you know, it's not a bad looking frame already, but that's of course nowhere near finished. You will need a hammer at this point, and several of these longer nails. So I use these are 2 centimeter or 2.5 actually centimeter nails. Let me correct that. Apologies, that is 3 centimeter nails. So these are 3 centimeters in length, quite thin so that the timber doesn't split. And you would place that in. And I like to drive one through this, turn it over. See how this is not level from when I pushed that in? I just hammer this in. Nice and flat, no hangover, beautiful. Now the second bit is just turning the frame over, doing the same thing on the other side. Now at this point, what is important is making sure that this little piece is as tight as possible to the sides, and you do want to make sure that you do get right angle, otherwise your foundation will not be accurate. Yeah? So, and you'll have it off on an angle. Again, into the middle. Same thing on the other side. I would tap that in first. We'll check the side and tap the side in, like so. This is definitely not for, this video is not for experienced beekeepers because they do this all the time, hundreds of them. Perhaps not as detailed as I do, because I do like to take my time and do it right the first time. I've never had a frame come apart on me, but you do need to take a lot more care and a lot more time to do it. So you see the runoff of the glue once you nail the, I'll insert the nails and hammer them in. So I just grab a rag, wipe that off nice and clean on all those edges. See how the nail actually popped out the side here? That's not a good result. You can fix that. That's why I have this rounded edge. Can't really fix it, but you just sort of do your best. Ideally that should not happen, but as you can see, hang on, I'm just trying to, as you can see, I've made it relatively flush. Yeah, so there's no danger of damage, and the bees will quite happily propolize any holes there. Also, you do see the runoff on the inside of the frame, which is, I'm trying to get the lighting right here, which is those little blobs there. I clean that up as well. I like to be neat. Don't want any of my frames to look shonky, even though I'm sure that if you do hundreds and hundreds of these, you probably stop caring at some point. But I take care, and I like to clean up all the small areas that have the glue, so I end up with a nice flush thing. So later on, when you're cleaning your frames, you're cutting away the wax and the propolis, you can be sure that you're not getting any glue left on the, in your wax or in your honey. Now this is quite sturdy as is, and the glue would hold that quite well. I mean, this is probably enough for most people. However, if you can imagine, the frame is thick with honey. The weight is about 2.5 kilos of honey plus wax. The actual weight on this nail downwards, putting pressure downwards that way as you're pulling it up, and possibly going against it as you're pulling up with your tool, with your hive tool on top of this, you'll find this one nail's not enough. Some people put 2 nails, some people put staples, and so forth. I like to do the following. I have the nails this way. The best way, I think, to secure it so it doesn't come ajar, like in that direction, up. Same thing on the bottom one, down that way, is to simply use the same nail, but I drive this nail in this direction. Let me try and get this right. I drive it in that way so that it comes in and actually ends up 45 degrees, or maybe 25 degrees, 30 foot, depending on how well you hit your nails. It comes through these notches and ends up in that timber. I do the one on this side, I do one on that side, and I'll show you the other bits. So let's do that. Put it off on an angle. Hang on, let me try this so that you can see it. Hold it on an angle and hammer it in diagonally. Do the same thing on the other side. Hold it on an angle. Nice and flush. On these smaller bits, however, you see the thickness of this notch, and see how thin this notch is. It's half the width. This nail would just split and go straight through the other side, So instead of using the big nails, I like to use these little ones, which go like that from both sides, like this and like this. Now that of course gives you and holds it, gives you leverage and holds this bit in so it doesn't come apart as you're trying to pull on the hive tool and separate the wax. So you just simply and quickly put that in. Put this one in roughly on that angle. Yeah, so that's the angle I'm trying to achieve, at least, as you can see right there, and we hammer that in, holds it nice and tight. So I'll just quickly finish off these two sides, and please feel free to forward this. I don't want to bore you, especially the experienced beekeepers. You would have turned this video off a long time ago, no doubt. But for you that you may be just starting out, I found this to be absolutely 100%, just does not fail, and those frames are with me still. Haven't actually lost a single one yet. Okay. Now this, you would think, is super strong frame, one nail up the top, two nails diagonally this way and this way into the timber on both sides. This side has it coming in that way, coming in that way and that way. I would be perfectly happy with that. However, just to make things a little bit more sturdy still, I use this staple gun, and I like to staple this side from the top on these two notches that right there. So I'll show you. Put that in, press down on the bolt really firm, punch that in. So you see you get a nice staple which runs through the side and the notch. And I'll do another one, this one, another one here, another one there, which takes care of the top parts. And I find that here is a bit of a weak spot as well. So just to reinforce this nail, because that nail can slide off. Yes, if you put enough force on it, and these side ones are only small nails, remember it can still, in that direction, pointing downwards, I wish I could show that properly, in that direction it could still come out. So I like to put another one right there like that. I'll do it on like so, and another one there. So this way you're quite certain it's not going anywhere. Last but not least, you can see it's protruding a little bit, so I take the rounded hammer and make it nice and flush. No room for parasites really. Bees can quite happily cover those, propolize it, and it's not going anywhere. And on this one you can see how it's actually, let me focus it, see how it's off a little bit. There's a hole underneath, not a good place for, oh well, it is a good place for wax moth to lay their eggs, so I'd hammer that in to make it nice and flush. Same thing on the top, just to to reinforce. And that's it. We are ready to go to the next section, which is adding the wire. So I'll do that in the next part. And this way you can see the frame is finished. It is super strong, super tough, not going anywhere, right angles everywhere. The timber is high quality. Yes, it did use a lot of nails. Yes, it did take a little bit longer to do, but look, to be honest, this frame will now serve me for years and years and years. So I'm more than happy to invest a little bit of time. I find that in 2 hours I easily get a full box of frames with foundation and wires all done up. So hopefully you liked the video. Let me know any feedback. Is it an overkill? Perhaps. But like I said, do it once, do it right, and you'll never have to repeat the process again. If you like the videos, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate if you could share your videos, like them, help our channel to grow, and I'll see you in the next video as we add the wires and the foundation. So see you then.